Hi again. In John Karel von Baalen's analysis of Mormonism, we've now reached the division into two factions. At the death of Joseph Smith Jr., the prophet, the Mormons broke up into numerous groups. Brigham Young succeeded in combining most of these under his leadership, with the exception of a small minority, which, as the Reorganized Church of Latter-day Saints, or Josephites, settled in Missouri. They chose the leadership of a son of Joseph Smith. The reorganized group felt the restraint put upon them by their Christian environment in the East to the extent of their repudiating polygamy altogether. They have since put forth brave efforts to fasten the guilt of polygamy onto the sister body, which under Young went to Utah. At that time, Utah was unoccupied Mexican territory, and the system could be practiced to the heart's content. But the facts are overwhelmingly against their contention. Not only did Smith undoubtedly write the revelation on celestial marriage, but of Joseph's followers, 20,000 went with polygamous Young over against 1,000 who went with the Josephites. In fact, polygamy was taught and practiced by all the original 12 Mormon apostles and by at least 6 factions of the church as it became disrupted at Smith's death. Moreover, prominent leaders of the early Josephites have admitted the Josephite origin of the doctrine, whereas the denials by later Josephites proved to be flimsy upon closer scrutiny. They also are often rather vague and uncertain in fixing the responsibility for polygamy and the time when it was introduced into the church. Fawn M. Brody lists 48 wives of Joseph Smith himself. There are, then, certain differences between the teachings of the Brighamites and those of the Josephites. These center chiefly around prophetic succession and polygamy. First, the Josephites claim that the president of the church must be of the seed of Joseph Smith. Charles A. Shook has wittily remarked, quote, "It appears to me that if they would split the differences, they would have about the truth, and that as it now stands, the Josephites have the president and the Brighamites the church," unquote. Another convert from the reorganized church, however, repudiates on good grounds the alleged hint of Joseph Smith that his son should succeed him, while the Josephites admittedly were without the president from 1852, the year of their organization, until 1860, when Joseph's son joined their ranks. Where, then, was the church from 1844 to 1860, if the Josephites are right? Second, again, the Josephites reject polygamy, but this is just as illogical on their part as is the Utah rejection of the inspired translation of the Bible, which the Josephites accept. And third, the Josephites reject in toto the Adam-God doctrine of the Brighamites, but they do believe in many gods, and gods with flesh and bones, as does the Utah group. Now he asks the question, what constitutes Mormonism? Thus the differences are few, and with the exception of the Josephite rejection of polygamy, insignificant. Both groups hold before the public misleading documents supposed to state their beliefs, but in reality concealing them. But the real beliefs, to quote a lifelong student of Mormonism, are essentially in common, as follows. Smith, a prophet, continuous revelation through him and others, the Book of Mormon, and doctrines and covenants as such revelations, the Pearl of Great Price as translated by Smith, parts of which are parts of the inspired translation by him, more revelations yet to come, at least equal to the Bible, Melchizedek and Aaronic priesthoods, gathering, tithing, flesh and bones God, many gods logically involved in this, but not often advocated by the Josephites, Christ and the Spirit, but not Bible conceptions, sin, a necessity for man, hell, a saving agency, salvation through works instead of by faith in Christ, baptism, that is immersion, essential to salvation, pre-existence of all men, apostasy of the Christian church, authority, organization of the church on their style, punishment after death temporary and measured by sins, premillennialism, the Bible is defective and practically superseded by their revelations, and their president alone is the mouthpiece of God. There are, of course, many more distinctives. Baalen says, quite a list of rarities, yet one that does not lay claim to completeness. As to that, the Reverend Van Dellen reminds us that their system contains elements reminiscent of such widely divergent sources as Christianity, Judaism, Mohammedanism, fetishism, communism, Manichaeism, Campbellism, and other isms. To discuss and trace all these errors one by one, he adds, one ought to write a voluminous book on the doctrine of Mormonism alone, in it discuss well nigh all religious sects of earlier and later times. It is, indeed, next to impossible to give a concise view of its many heterogeneous elements. Its earlier advocates were anything but theologians. The Reorganized Church launched a $500,000 campaign in November 51 toward the completion of their temple, construction of which was begun in 1926. The copper-sheathed dome was finished during the summer of 1951, the main auditorium to seat 6,700 and a basement section to give room for 3,000 temporary seats. The next time he's getting into the doctrine of polygamy and its development. This time I'll put in a link to what do the nine major denominations, forget the distinction between Orthodox, Protestant, and Catholic here, the nine major denomination, which includes all the major Protestant sects plus Orthodoxy plus Catholicism, what do they agree upon? Because oftentimes the cults will agree upon everything negative, that is towards Christendom, and one of the accusations they commonly make is that Christianity is divided, blithely ignoring the fact that no, the nine major denominations of Christianity agree upon basics. So what are those basics? I'll put this video on your screen. See you next time.